Hello, welcome to Ive's channel. Today we will learn about the shocking and violent confrontation that is about to unfold in Salem, where tensions between Holly Jonas, Ariana Horton, and Sophia Choi reach a dangerous boiling point. The aftermath of the devastating dorm fire has set off a chain reaction of accusations, anger, and ultimately violence that could leave one young woman fighting for her life. The explosive three-way showdown, Holly and Ari unite against Sophia. The upcoming episodes promise one of the most intense confrontations Salem has witnessed in recent memory, as Holly Jonas and her best friend Ariana Horton find themselves pushed to their absolute breaking point by Sophia Choi's relentless manipulations and deceitful schemes. The mounting pressure from Sophia's constant interference in their lives, combined with the legal consequences they're facing from the dorm fire incident, creates a powder keg situation that's about to explode in spectacular fashion. What makes this confrontation particularly volatile is the unified front that Holly and Ari present. These two young women, who have already weathered the storm of the dorm fire investigation together, have formed an unbreakable bond through their shared adversity. Their friendship has been forged in fire, quite literally, and now they're ready to stand shoulder to shoulder against the person they hold responsible for so much of their pain and frustration. Holly, who has watched Sophia systematically insert herself into every aspect of Tate Black's life with increasingly disturbing persistence, has reached her limit. The young woman who once tried to give Sophia the benefit of the doubt now sees clearly through the elaborate web of lies and manipulation that Sophia has spun around everyone in Salem. Her patience has been exhausted by Sophia's stalker-like behavior, her constant attempts to engineer situations where she and Tate work together or attend the same classes, and her transparent efforts to drive a wedge between Holly and Tate's relationship. Ariana brings her own frustrations to this confrontation. As Holly's roommate and closest confidant, she's witnessed firsthand the emotional toll that Sophia's scheming has taken on her best friend. Ari has also been dealing with the fallout from the dorm fire that nearly claimed Holly's life, and she's acutely aware that their current predicament is connected to the stress and emotional turmoil that Sophia's presence has caused in their lives. When these two determined young women finally corner Sophia and unleash their pent-up rage, the confrontation quickly escalates beyond anything anyone could have anticipated. They don't hold back as they systematically dismantle every lie Sophia has told, every manipulation she's attempted, and every boundary she's crossed. The verbal assault is brutal and unrelenting, leaving Sophia with nowhere to hide and no escape route from the truth bombs being dropped on her from all sides. The devastating consequences, from dorm inferno to legal reckoning. The backdrop to this explosive confrontation is the serious legal trouble that both Holly and Ari are currently facing regarding the catastrophic dorm fire that nearly ended in tragedy. The incident, which occurred when an intoxicated Holly accidentally knocked over a lit candle into a trash can while she slept, quickly transformed into a life-threatening blaze that filled their dorm room with thick, suffocating smoke. The heroic intervention of Brady Black, who courageously entered the smoke-filled room armed with a fire extinguisher, ultimately saved Holly's life that terrifying night. As Tate and Ari arrived at the scene, they witnessed Brady carrying an unconscious Holly out of the burning room. A moment that will forever be etched in their memories as a stark reminder of how quickly a situation can turn deadly. Now, in the week of October 20th, both young women must face the music and accept full accountability for their roles in creating the dangerous situation that led to the fire. The legal and personal repercussions are finally arriving, and they can no longer postpone dealing with the consequences of that harrowing night. However, rather than allowing this crisis to drive them apart, Holly and Ari have chosen to stand united and face their punishment together. This shared adversity has transformed their friendship into something far stronger and more resilient than either of them could have imagined. They've made a solemn pact to support each other through whatever consequences come their way, whether that means disciplinary action from the university, potential legal charges, or mandatory counseling sessions. Their determination to stick together through thick and thin has become an unshakable foundation upon which they've built their united front against Sophia's continued provocations. The stress of facing these consequences while simultaneously dealing with Sophia's ongoing interference in their lives creates an incredibly volatile emotional state for both young women. They're already stretched to their breaking point by the weight of guilt, fear, and uncertainty about their futures. When Sophia continues to push her manipulative agenda despite everything they're going through, it becomes the final straw that pushes them over the edge into confrontation mode. Sophia's complete mental and emotional collapse. When Holly and Ari finally corner Sophia and force her to face the truth about her actions, something inside Sophia fundamentally breaks. The young woman who has spent months carefully constructing an elaborate fortress of lies and deceptions suddenly finds all her defenses crumbling simultaneously. With nowhere left to run and no more excuses to hide behind, Sophia experiences what can only be described as a complete psychological meltdown. The stress of maintaining her complex web of lies about baby Tesoro's birth, paternity, and adoption has been taking an increasingly heavy toll on Sophia's mental state for weeks. She's been living in constant fear that someone will discover that she didn't actually give birth to a daughter in Chicago, as she claimed to Tate, but rather to a son right there in Salem. Every time baby Tesoro appears anywhere in Salem with his adoptive guardians Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez, Sophia's anxiety spikes to dangerous levels as she struggles to maintain her composure and keep her secret buried. The revelation that Tate Black is not Tesoro's biological father, confirmed through DNA testing that Brady Black commissioned through a private investigator, has already sent shockwaves through Sophia's carefully constructed narrative. This bombshell discovery has raised numerous questions about who the child's real father might be, with strong speculation pointing toward Aaron Green as the most likely candidate. The possibility that Aaron, not Tate, fathered her child during a night of mutual consolation months ago when both were dealing with difficult circumstances, adds another layer of complexity and stress to Sophia's deteriorating mental state. Now, as Holly and Ari systematically expose every lie and manipulation Sophia has perpetrated, the young woman finds herself trapped in an inescapable corner with no way out. The weight of all her deceptions, combined with the trauma of giving up her baby and the guilt of everything she's done to Tate and others, becomes too much for her psyche to bear. In front of everyone gathered at the Brady pub, Sophia's mind simply cannot process the overwhelming stress anymore. Witnesses watch in shock and growing concern as Sophia's responses become increasingly incoherent and her behavior more erratic. Her eyes take on a vacant, distant quality as she seems to mentally disconnect from the reality unfolding around her. The verbal confrontation that was already intense suddenly takes a dark and disturbing turn as Sophia's legs give out beneath her and she collapses unconscious on the pub floor. Medical emergency. The race to save Sophia's life. The moment Sophia loses consciousness and crumples to the ground triggers immediate panic among everyone present at the Brady pub. Emergency services are called without delay, and paramedics rush to the scene to stabilize the young woman before transporting her to Salem University Hospital for urgent medical evaluation and treatment. Upon arrival at the hospital, Sophia is immediately examined by Dr. Sarah Horton, one of Salem's most skilled physicians. After conducting a thorough assessment of Sophia's condition, including neurological examinations and mental status evaluations, Sarah delivers a diagnosis that stuns everyone. Sophia has suffered what appears to be a severe psychological break. Dr. Sarah explains to Amy Choi, Sophia's deeply worried mother, that the cumulative stress of everything Sophia has been dealing with, the pregnancy, the adoption, the lies, the manipulation, and now the public confrontation and exposure, has overwhelmed her daughter's mental defenses to the point of complete collapse. The psychological trauma has manifested in a catatonic state, where Sophia appears trapped in a trance-like condition, unresponsive to external stimuli and disconnected from the world around her. However, given Sophia's proven track record of manipulation and deception throughout this entire saga, some observers in Salem are already questioning whether this psychological break is genuine or simply another elaborate performance designed to garner sympathy and avoid consequences for her actions. After all, this is the same young woman who orchestrated an incredibly complex scheme involving fake adoption records, false paternity claims, and manipulated everyone around her for months. Could she really be cunning enough to fake even a mental breakdown to escape accountability? The preview footage showing Amy Choi embracing her daughter while Sophia stares blankly into space, seemingly unaware of her mother's presence or comfort, certainly appears genuine and deeply disturbing. But Salem residents have learned the hard way not to underestimate Sophia's capacity for deception. The question on everyone's mind is whether they're witnessing a real medical crisis or the performance of a lifetime from a desperate young woman trying to avoid facing the consequences of her actions. Amy Choi's growing concerns and unexpected interest in baby Tesoro. As Sophia remains hospitalized and her condition continues to be evaluated by medical professionals, her mother Amy Choi finds herself facing an impossible situation fraught with complex emotions and difficult decisions. Amy has been increasingly concerned about her daughter's mental health for weeks, watching helplessly as Sophia spiraled deeper into obsession, deception, and ultimately collapse. Now, as she sits vigil at her daughter's hospital bedside, Amy cannot help but think about the innocent child at the center of this entire catastrophic situation, baby Tesoro, Sophia's biological son who was surrendered to the safe haven and is currently being cared for by Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez under the legal guardianship of Rafe Hernandez. With Sophia potentially incapacitated by her psychological condition and unable to make decisions about her own life, let alone anyone else's, Amy begins to contemplate a radical possibility. What if she were to seek legal custody of her grandson? The child is, after all, her own flesh and blood, and given Sophia's current unstable condition, perhaps Tesoro would be better off being raised by his biological grandmother rather than by adoptive parents or foster guardians. This potential custody battle adds yet another layer of complexity to an already incredibly convoluted situation. Amy would not be the only person interested in adopting baby Tesoro. Johnny D. Mera and Chanel Dupree, who were originally supposed to adopt Sophia's baby before various complications derailed those plans, might still harbor hopes of becoming Tesoro's parents. Meanwhile, Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez have grown deeply attached to the infant they've been caring for and may fight to keep him. The situation becomes even more complicated when factoring in the paternity question that still looms large over everything. If Aaron Green is confirmed through DNA testing to be Tesoro's biological father, as mounting evidence suggests, he would have legal rights and might choose to step forward and claim his son. Aaron appeared genuinely shocked and anxious when Tate confronted him about the possibility of being Tesoro's father, suggesting that this revelation caught him completely off guard. The upcoming DNA test confirmation will be crucial in determining not only the biological truth of Tesoro's parentage but also the legal landscape of who has the strongest claim to raise this child. Aaron's sisters, Kat Green and Felicity Green, might also become involved in supporting their brother if he decides to pursue custody or parental rights. The uncertain future, what lies ahead for everyone involved? As this explosive storyline continues to unfold in Salem, numerous questions remain unanswered, leaving viewers on the edge of their seats wondering what will happen next to all the characters caught up in this devastating web of lies, violence, and consequences. Will Sophia's psychological break prove to be genuine, requiring extensive psychiatric treatment and therapy to help her recover from the trauma she's experienced? Or will it eventually be revealed as an elaborate act of self-preservation, one final desperate manipulation designed to avoid facing criminal charges or social consequences for everything she's done? The truth about Sophia's mental state will have profound implications for how everyone in Salem responds to her situation moving forward. How will Holly and Ari be held accountable for their roles in the violent confrontation that preceded Sophia's collapse? While they were justified in their anger and frustration with Sophia's behavior, the fact remains that their aggressive confrontation directly preceded a medical emergency that landed a young woman in the hospital. Will they face additional consequences beyond those already pending for the dorm fire incident? Or will the revelation of Sophia's extensive deceptions and manipulations be considered mitigating factors that explain, if not excuse, their explosive reaction? The question of baby Tesoro's future remains perhaps the most pressing concern of all. This innocent child, who had no choice in any of the circumstances that led to his current situation, deserves a stable, loving home with parents who can provide for his needs and give him the best possible start in life. But who should that be? Amy Choi, the biological grandmother seeking to keep her grandson in the family? Johnny and Chanel D. Mera, the prospective adoptive parents who were originally chosen? Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez, the current guardians who have bonded with the baby? Or Aaron Green, who might be confirmed as the biological father and could claim his parental rights? The upcoming DNA test that will definitively confirm or rule out Aaron Green as Tesoro's father represents a critical turning point in this saga. If Aaron is indeed proven to be the biological father, it will completely reshape the landscape of custody considerations and legal rights. Aaron will have to decide whether he's ready to take on the enormous responsibility of raising a child at this stage in his life, particularly given that he apparently had no idea until very recently that he might even be a father. As Salem residents continue to reel from these shocking developments, one thing remains certain: the repercussions of Sophia's lies, Holly and Ari's confrontation, and the uncertain fate of baby Tesoro will continue to generate dramatic storylines that keep Days of Our Lives fans riveted to their screens for weeks to come. The complex web of relationships, secrets, and consequences that has been woven throughout this story arc shows no signs of being neatly resolved anytime soon, promising continued intrigue, emotional turmoil, and unexpected twists in the episodes ahead. Thank you for joining us today as we explored this explosive